So they'll be calling you a radical. So seems like a lot of concrete and a lot of tearing out to replace something that looks just like it did before they tore it out. But anyway, I wanted to put up a tribute. We're getting a new track to the best coach I ever had. His obituary is in the paper today, not in the Rag Standard. That horrible paper. That's not a paper. That's not a newspaper. So, Gary Reed, my 8th grade track coach, one of the greatest men I ever knew in my life. And I'm going to talk about Rashid J. Hill, this unbelievable, legendary turnaround of the most corrupt football program in America. Oh, it was dirty. It was nasty. Losing. God, what a Jody Sears won. I think he won one home game in like 3 years. But it was so corrupt, it was unbelievable. I worked for Bruce Handley, All-American football player here, when we were the #1 school business in the country. He wanted to kill this program. I worked for him then. A student professor at #1 school business in the country turned into men's soccer. It should have happened because it was that corrupt, bleeding money, blah, 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 blah. But it is what it is now. Jay Hill turned it around. Rashid Shaheed turned it around. Of the 25 greatest football players in the history of this school, that's saying a lot. I'd say 15 of them were on the same team, the 2017 and 2018 team. I think there's 5 in the NFL right now, not to mention Adam Rodriguez breaking every record in the USFL there ever was. So I want to put this tribute up to the legend in my mind. And I want to talk about young athletes. Let's make sure this is still going. Yeah, it's going. Is it upright like me? Yeah. So when I'm a kid, they're testing all the kids, that's what they do. They test you, test you, test you, test you. A guy named Gary Reed was a counselor at Walfish Junior High. He becomes the track coach. I'm in 8th grade. I'm going to come out for track. Okay. So I come out. Run the mile. So I run the mile. And so he's like, whoa, you can go. Wow. So he says, well, I have a birth defect. I have a bad heart valve in my heart. I do? Yeah. You can run like that? Yeah. So he says to me one day, you have the highest test scores in the state on some of this stuff. Does anybody ever tell you that? No. Yeah. So one day, practice before any of the meets started, we're getting ready. I want to switch to the 880, the half. We have some really great half milers there, I know. I just want to switch. I don't want to run the mile anymore. It hurts too bad. It hurts. I don't want to do it. It hurts. Okay. Well, back those days, you'd run against other. They'd run you off before the meets. Winner was, 1, 2, 3. He's like, oh, this guy's one of the best in the county. You smoke. I'm in the 8th grade. I have about a heart valve. He says, okay, you're going to be the #1 guy in the meet. And I said, no. What do you mean, no? I'm not ready. I knew I had maturity issues. I wasn't ready. I knew I had self-confidence issues. I wasn't ready. And so I'm like, no. And he says, okay, you can be the team manager, but you're the fastest guy I've ever seen. I says, oh, wait. I don't want to go get the older boys. Let them have their glory. It's important for young athletes because my 2 grandsons, they're incredible. They're playing on the Spanish comp team, and 400 kids, they line them up. He knows Rashid personally. Out of 400, he's the fastest. They line him up. He's the fastest by far. No one's even close. Who's second? My other grandson, 2011. So I'm, of course, doing all the tide pool work in San Diego, full of AML, leukemia, of cancer, dying of cancer. And this university disrespected me so hardcore. They still do. But I take the high road. They take the low. Bad karma on them. So Rashid's playing high school football now. Let's get back to Gary Reed, and we'll talk about Rashid. We'll talk about the greatest coach who ever coached here by a million times, the legend Jay Hill, who turned this Titanic around. So Gary Reed says one day to us boys, he says, this guy was brilliant. He says, I'm going to take you up to Intermountain Indian School and let you run against the native boys. I'll show you something. I'm like, my mom works there. My grandparents are the Hunsaker, Abe Hunsaker, my grandpa, Graham City. I'm on that campus all the time. They're Navajo. And he says, oh, you know? Yeah, I do know. I know the chief personally. I'm on that campus all the time. It'll blow your mind. Okay. So we go up there. I run the half mile. 3 native boys, 3 of us. Gary, on the grass track. I could run on grass track. I could run on asphalt. We still had gravel tracks. I remember running at Roy High. Couldn't run on that gravel track. I couldn't run. Okay, run on a grass track. And so, this native boy, the Navajos were beautiful. The boys and the girls always had the long, straight, beautiful hair. He is going. That long hair in the wind, I'll never forget it, in front of that great big eagle. It was right in front of the big building with the eagle. So like he thinks we're going, he's got to think we're going to 440. You can't be. You can't, you know. So I'm like, let it go, you'll burn out. And I'm like, he's getting away. And I was a good stalker. I'd come from behind. So I'm stalking. I'm like, you got to try to keep up. I can't keep up. He's going way too high. He'll fade. Oh, he didn't fade. Gary's like, Kevin, look at your time. You just broke the county record. I'm in 8th grade. That's the count. You just broke the county record. What did he run? I says, that's the state record. In high school. Yeah. He's the new state record holder, you know. He says, doesn't count. Why? What's the name of this? Indian school. And then I says, I know all about the Shoshone and the Navajo. That was my grandma. He didn't have to teach me that, but he taught all the other boys. It doesn't count because they're Indians. Indians. They're not from India. They'll call it Indian affairs. So, this is the man that he was. So, he moves on to another school. 9th grade, I won't even mention this guy's name, his principal. This is important because I watch my grandsons like a hawk. I'm not letting coaches abuse them like they did me. He's the principal of Bonneville High School, you know. Really despise that guy. I can't say, I don't hate him, you know. I feel sorry for him. So, one day, I'm the best half miler in the county. Oh, wait a minute. Who's running it south? Or T.H. Bell, I can't remember. At Eiston, running the same thing. Go against that dude. Yeah, the BYU coach, the Olympic marathon coach. What, 2 or 3 time Olympian? Yeah, me and him. So, I'm going. All of a sudden, one day, he moves me to the medley relay. So we run 100 and 200 to have. And the irony of this, Mike Wakely, my dear, beautiful friend, who just passed away, who's native, and he had blonde hair, who just died of cancer last year. We grew up together. He ran the 440 leg, I ran the 88, but the 2 guys running the 110 were horrid. We were so far, we used to have to outrun them by 10, 15 seconds to even get there, but we would do it, and we'd win. I couldn't figure out why he took me off that. So I get invited to the Nathan Barker meet at BYU. Why would I get invited to that if I'm not even the number 1 guy that's trying to destroy my confidence? I mean, rip me to shreds. He did a lot of damage to me. And so years and years and years and later, this kid who I know, I grew up with, really messed up dude. I think he's in prison for meth still. He says, you know, Kevin, we're junior high, you know, we started talking about track. He says, you know, Lamar's my brother-in-law. I'm like, what? What? He came up to me after, I'm a 14-year-old boy. He comes up to me after and says, you know, at the end of the season, he says, Kevin, I want to really apologize to you for what I did to you. And I'm 14, I don't even know what he did to me. I'm like, well, you know, whatever. So, Rashid. So this is important because I talked to my grandsons about it, you know. It's about your gait. You got to have that good gait. I saw Rashid Shaheed run right here. I'm sitting with Josh Davis right there, and I'm, who the fuck is that? He says, Rashid Shaheed's in it. Oh, I know about him. I was in San Diego doing all that Tide Bowl, protesting at the, Carlsbad desal plant right there by his high school. I know about him. He's here. He's the track superstar. He's the son of the 2 legendary track athletes. His mom and dad are world class. I know about him. I said, I've never seen anybody with a gait like that. He runs more beautiful than anybody I've ever seen in my life. I says, he runs like Ted Williams swings a bat. Ted Williams, San Diego. Why there's no statue of him? Oh, his mom? You should see Ted Williams' house. She like doing all those work all those years when he playing high school. Tide Bulls. He'll tell you I've been a big influence on his life. He's been a big influence on my grandson's life. So my grandsons, I talked to him, I says, my grandsons have beautiful gaits. And they can run. And I'm like, but don't let these coaches, look, as a young athlete, God-given talent, you just got to try harder. That's bullshit most cases. There's no replacement for God-given speed and strength. None, but technique matters. You work technique, Jay Hill knew that. Jay Hill's the greatest coach in history. He turned this Titanic around into one legendary. The athletes that come off here blow my mind. 5 in the NFL off one team. Jonah Williams, Mr. Opeta. Those are local Utah guys. Rashid Shaheed. We have a local. I talked to him yesterday, Abraham Williams, from West High School, who I call Thunder. Why do I call him Thunder? He knows why. What comes after Lightning? Why do I call Rashid Lightning? I used to simply call him The Rocket, as you know, and I'm the first guy that identified him as NFL material when he was a freshman down there at Berkeley. I'm like, whoa, I never seen one like this. He's got the best hands I ever seen. He's the fastest. So Lightning hit the University of Utah Stadium when he returned to kickoff. Whittingham shooting down both ways. Knocked the game out for almost a freaking hour. So I changed his name to Lightning Rashid. What comes after Lightning? Thunder. I tell Rashid, well, whatever. People around here, we call him Rashid who? So this is what's so important about Rashid's story, my story, is, 2011 on this campus. I'm the oldest professor on this campus. I tell people all the time, I was here before you got here, I'll be here when you leave. All these people, Johnny-come-latelys that think they're all that as far as professors, whatever. They're pitiful anymore, but not coaches-wise. We'll see with Mickey. I like him. Well, not athlete-wise. The athletes have been on this campus the last freaking 15 years blow my mind. Damian Lillard knows my path. He was here. I worked for the team when I got cancer. I was at Beaumont East. Jared Carty. The football players here. Oh my God. Adam Rodriguez. Josh Davis. Rashid Shaheed. Mr. Opeta. I go on and on and on. Mortensen, the linebacker, so many of them, so great. So, Rashid, I talked to him before the game. This is how integrity, he's had such an influence on my grandson's lives, thank God. I'm working on their gait. They got beautiful gaits. It's all about that gait. I told Rashid I wasn't playing this game. The game doesn't mean anything. We was out this senior year. Last play, I have it on video right there. Hard tackle, big, brutal. Linebacker took him down. I'm like, whoa, that's bad. That's got to be. Everybody's lying to me saying it's a partial tear. It was a full tear. He didn't get to go to the combine, which was in San Diego. He'd have been the number 1 pick in the freaking draft, no doubt in my mind. I used to ask Rashid all the time, what's your 40? I don't know, never been caught. What are you talking about? Why are you always fucking with me? Now we know that he really hasn't ever been caught. His own teammate, who's from San Diego also, the rookie, he says Rashid's the fastest guy in the NFL. There's no doubt in my mind. Oh, no, in my mind. He's got hands like no other. So, rips it in two. This is how tough he is and how integrity he is. Right there, he was in so much pain. That interview that's online with he and I, in crutches, he's in so much pain you can see it in his face. He still took the time to do that interview. It was that important. I said, Rashid, you're the greatest football player who ever played in the history of this freaking legendary program. But back, we're talking Wildcat Morris, we're talking Scott Shields, Of course, Jamie Martin's up there, but all these great players, Lee White, I mean, I go on and on. None of them are Rashid Shaheed. So you think about it. He tears it. He makes the practice squad. He's the last guy on the practice squad. Thank God somebody paid attention to the Saints. This guy almost comes. He'll be I mean, mark my word, what he's going to be. He already is. You know, they won't play him. They won't play him. His first touch is, you know, the same play. They ran that reverse. The same. Put him in the backfield. That's the same type of play that he tore the ACL to the house. Like, oh. How about the play of Al Michaels on Sunday Night Football? Who's this guy? Oh, yeah. They wouldn't even play him. Look at his catch ratio at the end. I already knew what he was. I knew he had the best hands I ever saw. His story is so legendary as far as the turnaround. Jay Hill, who recruited local players. Jay Hill, who turned his tight. I talked to Jay so many times, you know. I can't say enough about him. He's at BYU. He's gone now, but the great Gary Reed did so much for me. And then Lamar, what he did to me, I watch out my grandsons like a wolf. I go to practice, I'll stand way back. You know, I don't go to every practice, but I make sure I go. Football, whatever they're playing. Don't pull that shit with my grandsons. Best athletes play. Period. And most great athletes have big minds. My nephew's the state. The region 6A Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to play here. So, this legendary turnaround. Gary Reed, what an incredible man. Saw his obituary in the paper today, I almost started crying. He's the only coach I ever had besides my dad who knew his ass from a horn. Most of these juniors, I talk to my grandsons, you don't need to be playing football this year. You know, stick with your soccer, give it a rest. You're going to be in 7th grade. Body rest. Michael Jordan didn't even play high school basketball until he was a junior. How about getting the band? Walter Payton. Of course, he died young. He didn't play high school football. Save that body. Relax that body. You know, play soccer. Do your thing. Don't let these coaches abuse you. Wait. Let that body develop. I'm still a track guy. I love the spinners. You know, still, I call him the new Bob Hayes. My favorite athlete of all time, bar none, is Bob Hayes. You know, he ran out of that one hole, and those bad shoes on that shitty track, or he'd still hold that record. And my grandsons are tall. You know, the one's really tall, and I'm like, he runs like Bolt. He does. Like, you know, he's an aberration. The other one, like, you got to learn to pump them arms a little better, you know, but who am I to tell him when they line up 400? But Rashid's, their role model was Rashid. They've known him since he was freshman. They sit down there and visit with him and talk to him. All the time they'd come right over and he'd sit and talk to him and visit when nobody even knew who the hell he was. So I was in San Diego all those years doing that type of work, you know, and I get so disrespected on this campus to make me sick. But, you know, look who's disrespecting me. Not the coaches here. You know, I like Brad Mortensen, the president, but these professors, well, they're pitiful. They're absolutely pitiful. We go from the #1 school business in the country when I ran the show. The FBI's in there. They rank like dead last. It's like a hell of a lot of concrete. Do you know 12% of the carbon footprint in this world is cement? As a plastic, people don't even know how cement's made. They have no clue. So, come along, my boot's gone. So I gotta tell this story. Gary would love it, Reed. I haven't seen him since junior high school. So I was a bitch who show up. What a great man. He did so much for me. Have patience. So the track here, Coach Peterson, the old legendary track coach here, he's almost 100. I think he's still alive. He told me, Kevin, you know, we got this original asphalt track. No. We had this cutting edge technology on these tires. They developed at Weber State back when we were the great engineering school. Of course, we're still the great nursing school, the #1 business school in the country, beating Wharton, beating Harvard. the public entity, this boutique intellectual school. Not now. We're not even, there's none of that now. So, the nursing school. And these people brought in tires, tractor tires, brought tires from all over the community, and we ground them up and we made it ourselves. I couldn't run on a gravel track, I never could. I was pretty good on an asphalt track. These new tracks, I mean, they almost throw you forward. Bob Hayes, can you imagine Bob Hayes on one of these new tracks and the cleats? He would still hold the world record. You know, he has a Super Bowl ring and a gold medal. She's the new Bob Hayes. Back to 22, and I don't buy his jersey sold out. I understand the first day they went on. I have a jersey. I bought it used at 22 Saints, and I'm going to have Coleman a bolt of lightning in there. Oh, but we had a great, I forget about him, the great lightning bolt that played here. Boone, Alfred, that tight end for one of the legends, greats here. So, I want to put up this for him. Gary Reed. The guy that took over, even in track where it's you against them, there's still an agenda always. Be careful, you young athletes. You know, don't let coaches abuse you. Don't, you know, and we're talking at junior high and high school. Just take it easy, take it slow, work your own pace. You know, Gary says you have a birth defect, bad aortic valve, and you run like that. Because you know I had open heart surgery this winter. Harvested that taken out of my artery. I got a pacemaker now. My perfectly good beast heart. Twice. You know, in 2017 they did it when the sheep was playing. You know that. Cancer. So disrespected on this campus. It's fucking pitiful. You know, I've been nominated for a Nobel Prize. I was. That's part of ICAM. Well, they wanted. Of course, I used to do it. I got nominated for the alternative Nobel Prize, and I probably would have won it. We might as well ourselves nominated. Never been one on this campus, and they treat me like this. Probably the most accomplished activist, physicist, nuclear freaking biologist, marine biologist in the history of modern America, the old U.S. So, to the great Andy Reid, hate to see him go. That was a coach. That was a coach. It's coming along, man. Hate to say they tore down the old booth. Should have left it, but I don't see a lot of change to this stadium. Looks like a big footprint, so it sounds to me. Have money, we'll spend. Stand tuned.